Hello Play the Game, this is Rowan with my comprehensive guide to exotic hunter armor pieces in Destiny. Now, as with my previous guides for the Titan and the Warlock class, there is no dedicated loot source to any of the following exotic items. Therefore, if you wish to obtain any of them, your best chance is to go for high reward activities in Destiny, such as nightfalls, certain raid checkpoints and legendary engrams. However, your overall best source is the exotic vendor Xur, who appears in the tower every Friday and Saturday, and will always be selling one of these exotics for 13 strange coins. Additionally, he will also be selling an exotic engram for one of the armor types for 23 motes of light, which has a roughly 1 in 3 chance of decrypting into a hunter exotic, depending on the actual armor type. We will begin with the Achlyophage Symbiote. Its perks are Discipline, increased grenade throw distance, and increased super energy from grenade kills. Its unique perk is that the golden gun now has 4 shots in it instead of 3. Why it's good. The extra shot massively increases the usability of your golden gun in all aspects of the game. It allows you to put more damage into high health targets or bosses in PvE, it allows you to shut down more guardians in the Crucible, it makes missing a shot less painful, and can be used to catch guardians by surprise because they expect you to only have 3 shots before you're out instead of 4. It honestly becomes difficult to use the golden gun without it because you're so accustomed to having those 4 shots for your super. Additionally, its secondary perks all have good synergy, buffing your grenades in different and useful ways. The bad. Firstly, the perks, while synergizing well, are sort of wasted on the gunslinger, as they arguably have the weakest grenades of any subclass in the game. On the inverse side, as a class exclusive, the unique perk doesn't affect blade dancers, but they have really good grenades for a subclass, so it kind of balances itself out. The golden gun is also very poor in PvE, so even though it does boost it, its effectiveness is arguable. And finally, the increased grenade throw distance can be disorientating if you switch between this and other gear that does not have that perk equipped. In summary, the Achlyophage Symbiote is an excellent shot in the arm for the golden gun, and every gunslinger should have one. While its grenade perks are questionable, the utility of your super becoming more powerful is just too good to pass up on. Knucklehead Radar. Its perks are Strength, grenade damage charges your melee cooldown, and increased super energy from PvE kills. Its unique perk is that it adds the Third Eye ability to all primary weapons, meaning that your radar will stay active when you are aiming down sights. Why it's good. It frees up a perk slot for your primary weapons, giving you increased flexibility with a wide variety of weapons, allowing you to accurately shoot, but still be aware of threats outside of your vision. Its secondary perks also have decent synergy, allowing you to get your melee override up faster to deal with the unpredictable situations that the main perk makes you aware of. And finally, it is one of the few subclass neutral hunter exotics. The bad. There's a perk class where the aim down sight radar is most useful in the Crucible, but the inverse shadow ability only works in PvE. Also, if your weapons of choice have the Third Eye perk already, or the radar is disabled in your current game mode, then the utility of this exotic is definitely questionable. There is also no direct increase to your DPS potential, and it doesn't work on the golden gun when you aim down its sights. In summary, this helmet can be useful, and the peripheral awareness is definitely nice to have, but overall there are just more powerful exotics for the hunter out there. Maintaining good awareness of your environment will almost completely replace this helmet's use. Mask of the Third Man. Its perks are Intellect, Orbs of Light trigger health regeneration, and increased melee attack speed. Its unique perk is that the arc blade hits will consume reduced super duration. Note that this ability only affects strikes that hit enemies. Why it's good. Effectively increases the duration of your arc blade, allowing you to get more kills, deal more damage, and just amps up its effectiveness overall. Additionally, it is the only exotic hunter helmet to have the infusion perk, so it is pretty much mandatory for the Crota fight unless you have already rolled infusion on your raid helmet. And finally, it has very good perk synergy, boosting both your super and survivability for such a close quarters class where taking damage is to be expected. The bad. It is a subclass exclusive exotic, and apart from the infusion perk during the Crota fight, a gunslinger will get very little utility from this helmet. Also, its effectiveness for blade dancers is based on enemy density. If enemies are sparse and spread out, then you will get less use from this perk than if enemies are very tightly knitted together. In summary, it is a very useful exotic for blade dancers in both PvE and PvP, allowing you to get much more out of your super as long as the enemies are always close by. Even without the infusion perk making it a must-have for Crota, this is still a very useful exotic to have. Ahamkara's Spine. Its perks are Discipline, increased special weapon reload speed, and increased super energy from grenade kills. Its unique perk is that it greatly increases the trip mine grenade's duration from 10 to 30 seconds. Why it's good? The longer duration can catch players off guard, netting you easy kills, and allows you to lock down corridors for longer, allowing you to control enemy movement for greater periods of the game. It also has excellent perk synergy, with everything boosting your trip mine grenade's effectiveness. The bad. This is a super niche exotic, boosting only one grenade type of one subclass that already has arguably the weakest grenades of any subclass in the game. It also provides absolutely no DPS increase, and most players in the Crucible will just shoot the trip mine grenade when they see it, especially with the prevalence of red deaths in the Crucible at the moment. And in PvE, enemies will just walk into the trip mine grenade anyway, so the increased duration doesn't really have any beneficial effect. In summary, if you're adept enough to deploy trip mine grenades in the Crucible in choke points where enemies can't easily shoot at the trip mine grenades, you could be a minor pest in the Crucible, but apart from this they really don't make a big difference, and in general are just a very poor exotic. Crest of Alpha Lupi. Its perks are Strength, increased special weapon ammo capacity, and increased hand cannon ammo capacity. Its unique perk is that you revive teammates faster, and they revive you faster in turn. The Golden Gun's orb limit is raised from 8 to 9, and the Arc Blade's orb limit is raised from 4 to 5. The good. The increased revival speed really helps a closely knitted team who work well together. It is amazingly effective in skirmish and salvage, and works very well on strikes and story missions. The basic perks also have excellent synergy with raid boots, potentially boosting ammo for both your primary, special and heavy weapons all at the same time. The bad. In raids, where teamwork is normally pushed to the absolute limit, the revive perk is almost completely useless. The orb's benefit is incredibly marginal, and if you don't use hand cannons then the ammo perks could be considered a bit meh. Additionally, the boost of strength doesn't really synergize with anything else in this exotic armour. In summary, it is a god tier exotic for skirmish and salvage game types. It is a solid exotic for strikes, but it is not good in raids. Also, it's worth noting that it works quite well for hunters, as they tend to be the best revivers with the whole stealth revive method for the Blade Dancer class. Lucky Raspberry. Its perks are Intellect, increased fusion rifle ammo capacity, and increased heavy ammo capacity. Its unique perk is that the arc bolt grenades have a wider catch radius, and you will always spawn with full grenade energy. Why it's good? It reduces the accuracy needed for arc bolts and increases their effectiveness around corners, making it a real pest in the Crucible to set up enemies for easy kills. Also, the consistent availability of grenades in the Crucible is very helpful for the Blade Dancer. Even if you don't use the arc bolt grenades itself, having constant grenades available on spawn is a very helpful buff. The bad. It could be argued that this is a very niche exotic. While both subclasses benefit from the spawn with grenade ammo, the Gunslinger tends to have poor grenades that don't often benefit from it. Therefore, it could be considered only truly effective for the Blade Dancer. It also has bad perk synergy with the Intellect, but then the actual main ability has nothing to do with your super, and the heavy ammo perk doesn't stack with raid boots, which you'll need to be wearing to be maximum level, and on top of that, if you don't use fusion rifles, then all of the ammo perks could be considered useless. In summary, it has some uses and could be considered a keep void find vestments for the hunters, but overall it's another niche but not that potent exotic. The following exotics are all from the Dark Below DLC. ATS/8 Arachnid. Its perks are Discipline and Strength, grenade damage reduces melee cooldown, and grenade kills have additional supercharge. Its unique perk is that the Golden Gun has increased zoom when you aim down its sight. It does not affect the Golden Gun model itself. Here's a comparison without the Arachnid and with it. Why it's good. The increased zoom makes it easier to use the Golden Gun at extreme ranges, and in general to help hit critical hit spots. Yes, you heard right, the Golden Gun can crit. You will receive increased damage, but it will not display the damage figure in yellow. Additionally, it has really nice synergies if you can get grenade kills, barring of course that random strength stat. The bad. Firstly, that random strength stat. It doesn't synergize with anything else in the helmet, so I'm not really sure why it's there. Additionally, the increased zoom is very disorientating when you first use it, and it cuts your peripheral vision like crazy when you're using the golden gun. Also, of patch 1.1.1, the golden gun's accuracy has been severely cut because in-game it is considered a hand cannon. This will probably be fixed, but as is, the golden gun is not that accurate. Therefore, to use the golden gun at the ranges the Arachnid was designed for, the perks Deadeye and Over the Horizon are almost mandatory, cutting the golden gun's DPS potential instead of increasing it. Finally, it is a subclass exclusive, only really benefiting the gunslinger. In summary, apart from those very rare scenarios where you need to snipe at extreme ranges, such as the Oracle phase in Vault of Glass, the Arachnid is a very poor exotic, with very little utility on its own right, and even less when you compare it to the Achlyophage Symbiote. Don't touch me. The perks are Discipline, increased special weapon reload speed, and increased super energy from PvE kills. Its unique perk is that taking any form of melee damage will activate invisibility for roughly 3 seconds, 6 if you have the Shadowjack perk. It is cancelled upon shooting, knifing, or throwing a grenade, and the ability to become invisible has a short cooldown between activations, although you won't notice this unless you cancel it manually. Why it's good? It is invisibility on demand, and it is just as powerful as it sounds. It makes whole enemy archetypes practically redundant, and parts of Crota's end ridiculously easy. Also, while it is arguably more effective on the Blade Dancer because of Shadowjack, it does work well for both subclasses. Invisible Golden Gun, anyone? It is kind of useless in PvP with auto-aim and the invisibility actually still being quite visible. Its secondary perks are also all over the place. Strength for Bling Strike would have been much more preferable rather than Discipline, which feels a bit wasted. Also, large hordes of enemies can kill you with melee before the invisibility activates. You are not immune to melee enemies. In summary, it is arguably the Hunter's strongest piece of exotic armour in the game at the moment, an absolute must-have for anyone. Radiant Dance Machines. The perks are Strength and increased heavy ammo capacity. Its unique perk is that movement speed while aiming down sights with all weapons is increased by roughly 20%. The good. Well, first of all, it's an exotic boot, which breaks the monopoly of raid boots being required to get to maximum level, giving you more options and being less dependent on RNG. Also, the increased movement speed allows you to strafe easier and throw off your enemy's aim in the Crucible. The bad. There is no direct DPS potential increase, your aim down sight speed is still reduced, and the heavy ammo perk only seems to be there because raid boots have it. In summary, it can be very potent with certain weapons, such as the medium multi-tool to further increase aim down sight speed, or shotguns that normally require you to aim down sight to get the full damage of the shotgun. But overall it is still a niche exotic, but you still should keep a pair, just for variety in case the next raid's RNG decides to screw you over in the boot department. To conclude, Hunter's exotics are really rather odd. Most of them are niche at best and just plain unhelpful at worst, but the gems in there really stand out and are some of the most powerful exotic armor pieces in the game. So this has been Rowan. I hope you found this guide helpful and informative, and if you did, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to Play the Game Central for more. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.